Coverage you can count on. Way 31 News starts now. This is breaking news.
We begin with breaking news. It is our first look at the teenager accused of killing his family. This is video of Mason Sisk within the last 2 hours. He was walking out of juvenile court in Limestone County. Thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman.
And I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's get straight to Way 31's Brecken Terry, who staked out the courthouse this afternoon. Brecken?
Yeah, guys, I was actually standing right here when I saw jailers bring Mason Sisk out of these doors of the Limestone County Courthouse. Now, we knew all week that he would have a hearing within 72 hours, but everyone was being tight-lipped on when that hearing would be because he is a juvenile. Now, as Mason Sisk was walking out of court in his gym shorts, he pulled his hoodie down to hide his face with his hands and feet shackled. He was surrounded by 3 guards who then led him to this Limestone County deputy SUV. Officials won't confirm where Sisk is being held, but we know juvenile offenders in Limestone County are normally sent to the detention center in Tuscumbia. We also don't know what was said during his hearing because the courts still recognize him as a juvenile, and because of that, all of his hearings and court documents are sealed. Now, we know if Sisk is tried and as an adult, all of his court records and hearings will then be open to the media, but that is a process that's going to be playing out in the court system and could take months. Now, the sheriff's office told me that they're not releasing much more on these horrific murders of his family because they're waiting to see if the courts are going to decide if he's going to be tried as a juvenile or as an adult. Live in Athens, Brecken Terry, Way 31 News.
Thanks, Brecken. Now, Mason Sisk appeared in court just hours after we learned details about funeral arrangements for his family. Here's how the obituary described Mason's dad, John Sisk, a father, brother, and son. Mason's stepmother, Mary, described as a fifth-generation teacher who was kind, big-hearted, and lived for her husband and children.
The children are described as briefly as their short life. 6-year-old Kane had just graduated kindergarten in May. They say he was fun-loving and had a knack for learning about science. They called 4-year-old Aurora Grace, known as Rory, a princess. They also described her as quick-witted and could outsmart her brothers. And baby Colson, just 6 months old, friends described him as a happy baby who always smiled.
In all, 5 obituaries. Listed among the survivors is Mason, who's accused of killing them all. With a hole now in their family, the Sisks are looking back at the lives they lost as they prepare to move forward. Leading the march ahead is the family matriarch, the grandmother, Wanda Sisk. Way 31 sat down with Wanda, who told us she now has to do one of the hardest things a parent will ever do.
I've got to bury my son, my daughter-in-law, and my grandbabies. It's so hard to describe. It's just unbelievable.
Wanda also talked with us about how grateful she is for the community's support. We'll share her story with you in our 5 p.m. newscast. As we mentioned, funeral arrangements have been announced. The family will be laid to rest this weekend. Visitation will be at the Lindsay Lane Baptist Church this Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11:45. The service is at noon. Burial is private for family only.
New information, trauma counselors have been at Limestone County schools all week, but as Way 31's Sydney Martin learned, that kind of counseling isn't just for children.
Oh, I think healing is a lifelong process when you've got something that monumental that's happened. And you can still, you can go and you can have, a very healthy and fulfilling life, but a part of you is always going to take that with you.
Erica Hochberger is a trauma counselor, and she explained the loss of the Sisk family will impact the community that knew them. Hochberger explained everyone in the community can help each other in this time. And if you think someone is struggling, you should treat them with kindness.
Just come in with a kind attitude and trying to help and not just being curious about, oh, what's going on.
Trauma counseling isn't just for kids. She told us any type of tragedy can have a major impact for people of all ages.
The trauma can really be anything that is really scary or really dangerous, that kind of upsets their view of the world and how it works and their feelings of safety and that everything's going to be okay.
She told me trauma counseling is giving anyone who's struggling from an event the tools to handle the trauma successfully in the future.
Through any kind of trauma, you're more vulnerable in the future. And so it's really important to have those skills to notice, what in your environment might be dangerous and ways to be assertive, where to get help if you need it.
In Huntsville, Sydney Martin, Way 31 News.
You can count on Way 31 to follow this story closely and provide you with the latest information as we get it. For the latest updates on the investigation, be sure to visit our website and download our Way 31 News app.
More breaking news at 4:04. The Way 31 I-team has learned a Limestone County District Judge is under investigation. Our crew has spent all day looking into Judge Doug Patterson. In the last half hour, the Alabama Administrative Office of Courts did confirm an investigation is underway, but neither that agency nor any others we've contacted will tell us exactly what it's about. We now know the first court appearance for the Limestone County Sheriff facing theft and ethics charges will be later this month. Sheriff Mike Blakely has an arraignment set for September 26th. He's facing a 13-count indictment, but is still serving as sheriff. Most of the charges are felonies. Blakely's accused of illegally acquiring at least $84,000, but that total could be higher. It'll be a little longer before we find out the fate of former Morgan County Sheriff Anna Franklin. Her sentencing hearing, which was scheduled for today, was continued. This is the second time, in fact, it's been pushed back. Court documents show it was postponed so the defense could have more time to fully prepare for the hearing. That hearing has been rescheduled now for October 17th.
New information. Today, the West Morgan East Lawrence Water and Sewer Authority approved a $30 million contract to build a new water treatment system. The contract will allow a Florence construction company to put together the new reverse osmosis water treatment process. It is still pending final approval from the Alabama Department of Environmental Management. The new system is being paid for by the 3M water contamination lawsuit settlement. Construction should start in October or November, and it's expected to be finished by the year 2021.
The Fort Payne Police Department is addressing rumors of a gun being at a high school rally. Today, police posted a statement on Facebook saying they're looking into the situation. The rumor claims someone brought a weapon to last week's pep rally at Fort Payne High School. Police say no official complaint or report was made by the school. There's been no evidence that it was a credible threat. Still, the department is taking precautions. Extra officers will be at the school until further notice. One person's recovering after being hit by a car this morning near Bob Jones High School. That happened before 10 a.m., just before 10 a.m. Madison police told us the person wasn't a student and only suffered minor injuries. New details. Way 31 was on the scene as a caver was led to safety in Morgan County. He and his friends are safe this afternoon after a rescue that involved multiple agencies and lasted all morning. Way 31's Ashley Carter is live at the Brindley Mountain Fire Department with details on what exactly happened. Ashley?
Dan, Naja, the search to locate the last missing person went on for about 3 hours today. Besides being covered in dirt, I'm told he is going to be just fine.
He was just a little cold and, confused. Glad to see us.
Tommy McPherson with the Brindley Mountain Fire Department describes the young man's expression when he saw rescuers hours after getting lost in a cave. McPherson said about 35 rescuers were at the cave today, and they had to go in twice before they could locate him. A woman had been found earlier in the day. He says even though the cave is closed, people still go inside.
It's one of them things.
I spoke off camera with the person who notified authorities his friends went missing. He told me he'd been inside the cave before, but his two friends hadn't. He wouldn't tell me how they became separated, but he's relieved they're okay. McPherson says if you're curious about caves, do things safely.
It's just a freak year for us that we've had a lot of cave rescues this year with several fatalities.
Now, even though the three of them were trespassing, I'm told that no criminal charges will be held against them. I'm also told that none of them will be going to the hospital today. Reporting live in Morgan County, Ashley Carter, Way 31 News.
Thank you, Ashley. More money is going towards reading initiatives at Alabama schools. More than $90,000 will go to school reading programs across the state. Here is a list of the schools awarded in our area. In total, 14 local schools were given nearly $30,000, all getting between $1,000 and $3,000. The money will be used to help students learn to read. It will also prepare them for the high school equivalency exam or to help them learn English. The Huntsville High School Band is honoring the Apollo 11 moon landing. The band will perform a special Apollo tribute called One Giant Leap. The performance will be at the pregame show for the Huntsville versus Grissom football game on Friday. The show is scheduled to kick off at 6:40 p.m. A drum major for the band told Way 31 this show stands out because it links Huntsville's history to music in a way the band has never done before. Bike riding just got a lot safer in the Decatur community. Pilot Club of Decatur donated helmets to Decatur police this morning. In a post on Twitter, police said they'll take the donated helmets and distribute them to children in the area in order to promote bike safety.
North Alabama is home to some of the places hit hardest by the opioid crisis. Hear about new funding that will help the state tackle the crisis and help victims.
And Hurricane Dorian is headed for the Carolinas. We're going to give you the latest track next.
And we're also monitoring some pretty nice weather across the Tennessee Valley. We do have a little bit of a cool morning tomorrow, and some heat is on the way by the end of the weekend. That's what I'm tracking for you coming up.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching Way 31 News with Dan Shaver, Naja Sherman, Chief Meteorologist Kate McKenna, and Lyndon Blake with sports.